as usual, first order of business, are your phones on silent for me, please? I like that no one scrabbles around to do it. That was great. It shows that I got you well trained now. Yay! Don't happen very often, does it? Can't even train my own cat. Right, just going to go through the healing book here as usual. Whoa, we have a lot of names today. What's going on here? Okay. Settle down, it's going to be a while. Great Spirit, in this time of growing warmth and light, we look towards the sun and thoughts of good times to come. But remember that some are not as lucky as we are. And for them and those listed below, we ask that special love, light and healing be sent to them. The healing list is Dougie, Darren, Jessie, AC, Jan, Vicky, Margaret, Charlie, Tony, Helen, Richard, Mary, Clive and Ralph, Jenny, Andy, Maureen, Roy, Margie, Melanie, Terry, Sam, Sue, Robert, Tom, Hayley, Brian, Diane, Ruth and Bonnie. So if you could just take a moment just to think of them in a happier place and a happier situation than they are now, and just send them lots of love and healing and light, that would be great. That's lovely, thank you all. That's another one. I'll catch you both later. I've just got a very quick little story here that I wanted to read out for someone. Because a few people have asked me, and a few mediums have spoken about it, so a few people have asked me afterwards, what does it mean to be an empath? That's one of the things that because people ask me questions here all the time. We end up like psychic agony aunts, don't we? Mm-hmm. People just they ask you questions. And one of the ones I got was, like I said, what's it like to be an empath? Because a lot of people feel, especially during COVID times, a lot of people are feeling a lot more of like the sadness of the world and a lot more of the energy of it. And I think that's probably because they weren't sort of going out as much. They were feeling a bit more comfortable at home, so therefore things were leaking in a little bit. But so this is a tiny little story about a lady who is dealing with being an empath. And she said, waking up for a start, as my eyes adjusted to darkness in my bedroom, I realised that I wasn't alone. A strange ball of white light had appeared to my left. The ball was about 1 metre across and it glided to the bottom of my bed. It glowed and hovered in mid-air, then the light became brighter. Amazed, I sat up in bed to get a better view. Strangely, I wasn't frightened. It was as if the light was giving off a gentle, soothing energy. I watched in awe as it transformed into the head of a beautiful woman. As her smiling face moved towards me, I'd never felt so safe and serene. The experience lasted about 10 seconds, then the smiling spirit vanished away. But in those 10 seconds have stayed with me ever since. You'll never guess what happened last night, I said to my husband excitedly next morning. But when I told him all about it, he just rolled his eyes. It was a wake-up call for me. I'd been miserable in my marriage for a while, and his disinterested reaction made me realise that it's time to go our separate ways after 18 years together. For a start, I wanted to explore my spiritual side. My parents had split up when I was 8, and that's when I developed a sixth sense about people's feelings. I'd walk into the kitchen and my mum would be standing at the sink. I could feel her sadness and anger, and it hit me in waves. Her distress made me confused and uncomfortable, but of course I didn't know that I was feeling her emotions, and I didn't know that I was an empath. Over the years, I realised I was different. But it wasn't until I saw the spirit woman at 34 that I realised that I shouldn't be embarrassed by my psychic skills. You know you're an empath, right? A friend said to me when I was 48. I'd never heard of the phrase, but she explained that empaths are like sponges and they feel people's emotions. The downside is that sad or negative energy can drain you, which is why I'd felt the way I did around Mum growing up. So now I meditate every day to clean my aura, and I'm no longer overcome by the emotions that I pick up when I'm out. I'm a bit of a tree hugger too. Nature helps re-cleanse and energise me. I wouldn't swap being an empath for anything. It makes me a kinder person. And finally, I've learnt to love myself and my gift. So like I said, it's just a little story, a little one that I picked up earlier. And I thought it's one of those, so many people seem to think that if you show emotions, and if you feel people's emotions, you really feel for people, that makes you weak. And I think that could not be further from the truth. I think that's one of the things that actually makes you a very, very strong person. Because not only are you dealing with your own emotions, you're dealing with everybody else's as well, and you're still managing to smile and to make them feel better, that makes you one of the strongest people that I know. And it's one of those things that people seem to think that if you're an empath, they think that's the weakest psychic gift that you can get, and it's one that makes you a really, really weak person because you're over-emotional. It's not. It's just one of those things where, like with anything, you have to learn to control it, do some meditation, learn to shut down, learn to put yourself in a bubble, and just learn to look after you more than you worry about everybody else. So that's me done. That's all I got. I don't know if you want to do a little dress or you just want to go do your thing.
I think you've done that very well.
Oh, thank you.
And I don't think I really need to add anything to that, because what you've said about being an empath is quite true. Being an empath is about feeling how other people feel and experience it. As a medium, when I communicate, that oftentimes I will feel what that spirit energy is trying to get the message over. So I will experience pain, discomfort,
I cry
emotion,
in readings all the time.
And that's a normal thing. And you do learn to distance from it. You have to have boundaries and be able to sort of distance from it, so that was very good.
I just open the magazines at random, and I just let my hand take me to which one I want, and I just open it at random and go, that'll do. And I let them tell me what I need to read out every day, every week.
Right, so I'll start now. I'll stand up, but I may not stand up for long, because if any of you got a sore kneecap, it's mine, okay? And that means you're an empath too. I didn't know I was going to match the room.
It's very fancy. It's a very good colour though. Blue's always a good colour.
Blue's a brilliant colour, yes. So now, I don't know if everybody knows me. My name is Sherry Wakeman. I spent many years in Australia, so I may speak with a twang, and I do go back on a regular basis because I ran away from my kids over there. They became, as you do. They're not really kids, my son's now 50, so they're not really kids, but they grow up and you never stop thinking of them as your babies, do you? So I may say things that you may not understand, and that's because if I said to you I saw somebody hooning down the road, it means they were travelling very fast. And that's an Australian expression. And I may come out with something like that. And if you don't understand it, then just sort of flag and say, speak English. Because I tell everyone I'm multilingual. I speak English and Australian.
Oh, see, I do English, bad English and sarcasm.
Yeah.
That's mine.
So, now, if I come to you, I want to hear your voice and I want to hear your name. Because spirit work in different ways, and they become so used to doing one thing, they decide to change how they're going to work. Now, what I've had recently is I will get the image of something that is applicable to just one person here this evening. And, do you know, I've known for months I'm coming here, and every day I say, give me something. No. They wait until I'm here and I'm standing, and then they give it to me. And all I get in my mind that I see is onions. Now, I imagine that everyone's eaten onions or seen onions, but this is for somebody here this evening that has a memory of or has experienced something to do with onions. And I'm talking about brown onions with lots of layers, because I can see it. Whether they've been planting onions, whether they've been boiling them, and I am talking onions. So who understands what I'm talking about here? And it's definitely onions, it's not garlic, and I'm not talking red onions, I'm not talking pickled onions. Somebody here has an understanding of onions. It will have a meaning to you. You will know it.
I have got a lot of onions at home that I was meant to use last week and I didn't.
It has a meaning to you and an understanding.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Sandra.
Sandra, may I come to you, Sandra?
Yes.
Thank you. Because it's funny, as soon as I get that connection, they come straight through, straight in. So it's like they give me this thing that's so obtuse, really, you know. So I have a gentleman here for you. He stands about, I'd say he's probably about 5'10", and he's quite a good solid man, you might say. And he's showing me, he's a good figure of a man with dark hair. He's showing me dark hair, and he seems to have a good head of hair. And I feel that as he got older, it did sort of thin down a bit, but he had a good head of hair. I'm getting the name Rob or Robert, or a name sounding like that, Bob, Rob, something like that. Could be around him, not necessarily his name, just the first one that comes in. Right, and he's showing me he's doing a lot of work with his hands. So he liked to do things, fiddle with his hands. Do you understand that? No. If he didn't fiddle with his hands, are you a crafty person?
Yes.
You do lots of things with your hands, because that's what he's showing me. And sometimes it could indicate something that he's doing or something that you do. All right. So I'm asking now for him to give me something that you know without a shadow of a doubt. He's been around you recently. I do feel that he is connected to you as a loved one. And I do feel that there was an issue with his chest, possibly his heart, but he had reflux at some stage too. Do you understand that? No. Something to do with his chest or his heart. No. Okay, we'll work that one out in a minute. Right. So I'm going back to the onions, because it's talking about you've got a pile of onions there. Yeah. In a bag or something somewhere, and if you look at the bottom, some of them are actually going a bit squidgy because they're not. You weren't supposed to keep them for as long as you've got them. Yeah. You understand this, because it's showing me. But I'm also being made mindful that if you eat onions, you don't get colds because they're a natural antibiotic, and there's something about you needing to eat more of that family for your own health. Do you understand that? Yeah. I'm sort of also being shown things like iron and vitamins, so there must be something around that you would understand. Definitely. And this is an indication that he is around you. Mm-hmm. Right, let's go back to this chest thing. Right, because I'm still getting a bit of reflux, so like I said, I feel what they feel.
I can have reflux, so it's me.
Right,
Sorry.
thank you. Right, I understand that now. Yeah. Right. So, first of all, the message for you. It seems to be a bit convoluted, because there seems to be many aspects to this. First of all, he wants to give you daffodils for March. There's an important date in March. You understand this? Yes. And he wants to give you daffodils because they're the flowers for Wales, I think, and it was St David's Day the other day, and I'm being reminded of all this. And so that's the first thing he wants to do, is make sure that you understand about that. But he's also talking about things that you do on your daily basis, and there's a lot of reading going on. Mm-hmm. You do, and some of it is to do with, it doesn't seem to be like work, but it seems to be some sort of professional capacity. Do you understand this? And I sort of feel that there may have been some difficulty or misunderstanding, or you're not quite getting what you are meant to be getting. I understand this. I have a fear of success. So I go well in exams right up until the very last one, and then I stuff it up completely, every single time. So I have an understanding about this. But I also feel very strongly that there will be a success at the end of this journey, that whatever it is you're working on, that he is behind you 100%, and he wants to see you be successful in this venture.
Thank you.
It's more a journey than a venture, I feel.
Yeah.
It's about the wording, correct wording. And he's just shouted another name like Mark or Marcus, something like that. Again, around. When we give names, it's like being at the post office, you know, it could be a name belonging to anyone around you, okay? And I will leave his love with you.
Thank you.
No worries. Now, oh, I got a raffle ticket. Thank you.
I just snuck it there a minute ago.
I was going to buy one.
No, we don't buy, we give.
Right. Okay, so now what do we go to next? Again, I say about this something being unique to just one person. And, right. Somebody will know exactly what I mean when I'm talking about a pigeon. And I'm not talking about pigeons, a flock of. I'm not talking about a pigeon that something has happened recently, within the last day or two, that somebody has had an experience with a pigeon. Who is it?
I might be able to take that, possibly.
Right, tell me.
I went to cinema. I was going to cinema with my daughter and my brother about a week ago, and as we were going up the escalator, this pigeon flew past us, and some kid just went pigeon at us, and it had my daughter in fits so much, and she just kept laughing so much about this pigeon. And
I'd say that's a pretty good one.
It's not that cute. She's 21. It's not that cute.
My daughter, who's now she's 50 this year. Right, I'm going to Australia to celebrate her 50th. I can still get her to laugh by doing that. She's blonde, but she does. She can't stop laughing just by doing that. I'll guarantee it. I'll send you a video when I'm over there.
I'm going to be like,
do that, and she'll crack up. So yeah,
I'm doing it now. I don't even know why.
Right. So who have I got for you? Willow, may I come to you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't normally put my hand up, but I will do if I need to.
The messages are for everybody.
They'll go for you.
Yeah. So, and I don't have a problem with that because I know nothing at all about you. But what I do see here in front of me, and he's coming forward rather than from behind me, which is where I normally get the feelings from. So this is quite different for me. And he's striding forward. And I see him as being quite a tall person. He's definitely 6 foot or maybe more, because he appears tall, even if he wasn't as tall as that. He would stand tall. You understand what I'm saying? I do feel that he's closely related to you. I do feel that he's family.
Yep.
And I do feel that he feels very much like he wants to nurture you, like he's a father or a grandfather. So he feels very loving towards you.
Yep.
And if I would say, if you were an only daughter, then you would be his favourite.
Yep.
Even if you weren't his only daughter, you would be his favourite.
Yep.
Do you understand what I'm saying? There is a special connection between the two of you. He's looking at me like he's striding forward, and he's got these beautiful eyes, like they're very expressive. And he is joyful.
Yep.
You understand this?
Yep.
He is absolutely joyful. I don't know if any of you have met this gentleman, but
only in circle, which is why
gorgeous.
They laugh. That's why they're laughing, because they've met him in circle.
He is gorgeous, and he was very strong when he was around. He had a lot of physical strength as well as mental strength. So he was a very compassionate man too, because he shows me, or I'm feeling that love and compassion for his fellow man. And it feels to me like he would not say anything bad about somebody. If he couldn't say anything bad, he would say nothing.
Yep.
He was that type of person, very, very strong, very focused. He's indicating to me that there was an illness of some description, but it was quite short and it was quite sharp when he left. But he was ready.
Yeah.
And that might be just a surprise to some, but he was ready when his time was up. We all have an expiry date, I tell everyone. Plan for it, have a party. We all have it, yeah. And we celebrate the birth of a child. Why shouldn't we celebrate going in from one existence into another in the same way? So think about that in your futures. I gave all my kids a will kit when they were in their 20s. I said, I don't care what you've got, write it now so the government doesn't get it, and make a plan for your exit. And I felt that he was quite well, he had everything organised.
He didn't, yeah.
Right.
He did, but it was so well organised we couldn't find it.
I've heard that too.
That's like a way to keep it safe.
Yeah, yeah. But it was dealt with, and so there wasn't the emotional drama that a lot of people experience at that time.
Yeah, we didn't have that. It was, Nan was
'cause
still around. Me and Mum couldn't fight over anything. Just us.
Okay. So I'm now looking at the message from him. Right. Now, I know that you spoke about a few things that you've got going on around you at the moment, you know, when we first came in the room. But he's talking about all the things that you've got going on, because there's more to it than just what you mentioned that is going on in your life. You understand?
There's a secret thing I'm not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, I don't need to know any details,
I'm not
but
allowed.
I'm being told that there is more going on, and that there is more organising going on, and that there are... I sort of feel that in some ways you're stretching yourself a bit thin. That's not to say that you cannot cope, because you will cope, but you need to look around you for others to assist you, and there will be others who come on board to assist you, because we all need somebody. We cannot do things on our own.
You do realise you're giving her ammunition now, don't you? Because, you know...
Who?
You're giving her ammunition because she was telling me off for not asking her to help earlier.
Well, again, I'm getting this... I'm assuming it's your father, because it feels... Your granddad. Well, it feels like that. And I feel that... So your grandfather spent a lot of time with you as you were growing up. A lot. So, because it felt a real closeness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, you're stretching yourself a bit thin. Pull it all in together, sort it out, and ask for help.
I'll delegate.
That's another way of asking for help. That's good.
That's good. I'll boss people out and tell them what to do. I won't ask for help. I'll delegate.
Right. Now, so November is a special month for you? Something happens in November? There's an anniversary or an event in November?
Yep.
And I have no idea why, but it's I've been linked to poppies for you. Beautiful red, big poppies. Beautiful red ones. And they're gift for you. So thank you, Willow, for working with me.
I knew he'd come through. It was his anniversary. It was his birthday the other day, and we went to go to visit him and everything. So I knew he'd come in because he's a pain in the bum like that.
Well, I didn't think he was a pain in the bum. I've never seen anyone stride towards me quite like that.
He's very used to this place. He counts it as his own now. He just comes in and does what he wants to do.
Right.
He comes with purpose.
How many people here are in the circle?
1, 2, 3 at the moment.
Right, okay. Just for my interest's sake, not for anyone else. Now, I'm going somewhere completely different. Lady, you with the writing on the T-shirt. What's your name?
Terry.
Terry, may I come to you, please? Got no idea why just yet, but we'll see. see what happens. Just you had this light bulb saying, pick me, pick me. I'm shifting through. What I have here is I seem to have a bit of a crowd back here that are saying also pick me, pick me. And I'm trying to sort out from the group which one is going to step forward and be the spokesperson. Do you understand what I'm saying? You've got a few that have crossed over, haven't you? So it seems to be a bit of a fight between a man and a woman, because I've got them both sort of elbowing each other to come forward, and I don't feel that they're actually related as in man and wife, but they could be siblings or something like that, because there seems to be some connection between them. So I'll just describe. The man is, I would say, like Andy Capp. He's got the cap on, he's short, not short, about 5'8", 5'9". That's not really short, is it? He's not tall. And he seems to have a cap or a hat or something on his head. He's got his head covered. Do you understand that?
Yeah, but it was short. It was short one time. No.
Shorter than 5'8" or 9.
Yeah.
So 5'6".
Yeah.
Right, because that's what I was told first up, and I thought, no, he's looking taller than that. But then I think we all shrink as we get older, don't we? And so, you know, it's like I'm heading towards that awful 7-0, and people talk about everyone getting older, and I don't feel old at all. So I'm thinking, so what do I say when somebody comes to me and they look old at 60, and I say it was an old person at 60, and I think, well, hang on a minute. Do you know what I'm talking about? Age becomes irrelevant to us, doesn't it? But I do feel that this man reached his 80s. He's talking about 80s.
70s this man.
Right, because he's mentioned 80s. So if it wasn't he didn't reach 80, there's something about the 80s that was pivotal in his life. You understand this? Because he's mentioned 80s. Well, that would be pivotal in his life, wouldn't it? Did he have a sense of humour like that? Was he a bit sort of...
Yeah, we always had to...
off the...
He had a cap on all week, and Saturday night when he went out to the club, we always trilled with him Sunday lunchtime. We always had that.
Right, because I saw him with the cap first and then it changed. So that's probably... a real fag on. And he liked a beer. Yeah, or 3, yeah. Okay.
In the morning.
It doesn't matter what time of day, because if it's morning here, it's afternoon somewhere else, you know, and that's okay. So, as I said, there is a woman standing sort of close to him. They're sort of at the front of this other group that's there. And so she's not coming forward as much. Now, that to me indicates one of two things. It could be that she was distanced from you either by miles or emotion. In other words, you weren't that close to her. So I'm feeling that she was a little bit distant from you, and it could be that you didn't live close together as well. But I do feel that she has a grandmother type feeling to her, that she was... now, when I talk grandmothers, mothers, fathers, I'm talking father-in-law, stepfather, the man who raised you, who lived next door to you because your mum and dad were out half the time. You know, somebody who looked after you as a son or a daughter is like a father, and they come through with that father feeling. So when I'm talking father, mother, grandmother, grandfather, open your minds to the possibility that it isn't just somebody who was your actual grandmother. But I do feel she was. I do feel there's a link there, because she actually looks a bit like you. I see a similarity with her.
Could have been my nan, that she lived in Ireland and I didn't see her a lot.
Well, that sounds about right, doesn't it? There's a distance there. She looks like you and she feels like a grandma.
Yeah.
Only it's a nan, not a grandma. My daughter's just become a grandmother, and I said to her, how do you feel about being a granny? And she said that her name is going to be Glamma.
Nice. Nice.
So I like that, Glamma. Why didn't I think of that?
Just stole that.
I've got like 18 grandchildren, last count. And that's why she looks a bit like you, or you have inherited some of her look, some of her colouring. I feel that, and I'm sure if you found a photo of her somewhere, you would see the similarities there. And I do feel that you've taken on board some of her personality traits too that she had. There would be other family members who would see a resemblance to her from you.
My aunt said to me 3 weeks ago I had her lips.
Well, that's proof for me. I'm happy with that. Can I have that as the wow factor, please? Thank you.
Take it. Take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yes, take it. Because we don't get them very often, right? But having said all of that, this is why she was hesitant to step forward, because of this distance. And it's distance in miles, not distance in emotion. And sometimes it's more difficult for them to sort of push through. Keeping you awake? I'll have to work harder, won't I? Yes. Get up and run around the room 3 times. You need some oxygen. I feel that there is... with this, that she's around you a lot more often than you're perhaps even aware of, that there are things. She's talking, you have grandchildren, she's talking about grandchildren, she's talking about, so she's talking about a boy and 2 girls. So somewhere in the family there's a boy and 2 girls, you understand this?
I've got a boy and 3 girls.
There might be 3, but there's 2 that I'm being focused on. So 1 would probably mean that she's doing all right, and the other 2 might mean that they're struggling a bit in whatever they're doing. Does that make sense to you?
We share the same grandchildren.
Right. Okay, because I'm being... 1 and 2 is being mentioned. So... not just 1 and 3, and usually that means that 1 is okay and there's something going on in the lives of the other 2 and 1. This is what your grandmother's saying, okay? She's talking about this family, she's talking about these grandchildren. I don't see anything disastrous or anything like that going on. It's nothing like that. There must be something going on in their lives that's causing them a little bit of concern, and it might be something as simple as not getting their driver's license, or not getting the job they wanted, or something like that, or not even getting the bloke they wanted, or the girl they wanted, or whatever. It might be something as simple as that. But she's making me mindful of it to make you mindful of it, so that when, because they will eventually come to you, you'll be able to ease their mind and put them at rest and know, and be able to tell them even that their great-grandmother is around them and watching and looking after them, and that everything will be all right. You understand this. This is really important, because when kids are, no matter what age, when they're going through a difficult time, you know, we always try and give them comfort. And if you can give them comfort from the other side as well, if they're of the same mind as you, of course. My kids had no choice in it. They had to believe what I do. So, right, I'm asking for a gift for you. Now, okay, it may be because she was living in Ireland, but she's given you a bunch of radishes. Yeah, don't ask why, but radishes. Yeah, radishes. That's it. Red bunch, radishes. Can't help you. Can't even go there. Now, what's your name? Mark. Speak up, Mark. I'm coming to you next. This will wake you up. Right. Who have I got for you? Do you ever get called Marky Mark? Do you ever get called that?
Very rare.
First thing that came into head was Marky Mark. Somebody must have called you that. Alright. So, who have we got for you? There's not a whole lot over there, which is a good thing. Like, I haven't got a crowd waiting for you.
No. It's good, isn't
It is a good thing, yeah. Okay. I do feel I have a grandmother with me. I feel a grandmother. And I feel that this particular grandmother, she's telling me she's on your father's side. Grandmother on father's side. This is what she's telling me. And she's telling me that she didn't actually get to spend a lot of time with you. Do you understand that?
I don't know.
So she didn't spend any time with you, did she?
She's in the Caribbean, so I never visit the Caribbean, so I've never seen her.
Is she still alive?
No, she's gone.
Oh, good, because otherwise I'd be communicating with the wrong person, wouldn't I?
She's gone a long time ago.
Excellent. Well, I don't mean excellent, but
Yeah,
you know, let's get it right. You know, I don't want to be talking to the living. I want to be talking to the dead.
We're not predicting things over here.
I'm trying not to be predictive here. Yes. Right. So the reason why I'm feeling this energy from her, and I do feel that she didn't actually know you physically, but, and I can assure you on this, that as a family member, as a spiritual person, as soon as she crossed, there are no mistakes, there are no hidden agendas, and she knows everything that's going on in your life. She doesn't know when you go to the toilet. She doesn't know what you do in bed. She's not interested in any of that. But she knows what's going on in your life. So your hopes, your fears, all of these things she is totally aware of. You understand this? And this is for everybody who has family that have crossed over, whether it be father, mother, grandmother, stepfather, or the next door neighbour. When they cross over, there is just love. And that's all they know. So they're aware of things that happen in your life, things that you may have experienced that are not necessarily what you want to experience. She's shown me a motorbike. Do you have a memory of a motorbike? Because she's showing me a motorbike. There's something to do with a motorbike. And she's also talking about maybe 10 years or something, like going back a few years.
I know what that is.
You do?
Yeah, you've been constantly asking for a mark.
She won't let me have one.
Right.
Yeah, finesse it.
For years you've been asking.
Years.
Yeah.
For 10 years? Because she's gone back 10 years. Yeah, okay.
So you might have been wanting one before that, but I can remember my
Yes,
calculations.
yes. About 8 years.
Right.
I've been after one.
Right. So that's why she would have shown me the motorbike, because she's aware of what's going on in your life and what your hopes and dreams and aspirations are. She's not telling me whether you're going to get one or not. But what I could say, Mark, is, you know, if you got a job as a Just Eat delivery driver, you'd automatically get one of those little mopedy thingies, wouldn't you?
I've rid one of them. They're no good. It's too slow.
We want a brum brum, not a putt-putt. That's what we want.
Yeah, you want a big triumph, not a little putt-putt. Yeah. All right. She's not telling me whether that's going to happen or not. We do not predict, but she is indicating that she is aware of what's going on around you.
Madness, is going on.
Right. If you've never, you would have seen photos of her. So if I describe this lady to you, you know who I'm talking about. Okay. So, okay. So I think she feels like she was about 5'2" or 3. She wasn't a tall woman. She was probably about my height, maybe a bit taller. You would understand that with her standing next to somebody else in a photo.
Were you saying she's short?
I'm saying. Are you saying I'm short?
No. She's short. Okay,
I shall stand up.
Everyone's short to me, so I won't stand up because everyone's short to us, isn't they?
So I'm thinking she was about my height, and I used to be an average height. Whether I'm still an average height, I don't know. Looking around this room, I think I am short, but you know, who knows? So I think an average height, not tall, but not. See, to me, short is 5 foot. Right, somebody who's 5 foot. So, and I see that she had a good solid figure about her, and she's talking about children. She's talking about having. There's 4, maybe 5. So this is be your father's mother. So there's a few siblings there, and some are still in the Caribbean. They're not all here.
There's a lot more than that.
I'm just saying that some are still in the Caribbean. So she's talking about that. Now she did, because she is showing me, and my brother's just been to Trinidad for the carnival, and and she is showing me some of the costumes that I've seen my brother with his wife and family in the recent Trinidad carnival thing. I've never been, so I've got no idea, but this is what she's showing me. She's also showing me the a beautiful sort of wrapped around headdress type thing that was part of what she wore on a regular basis. Do you understand this? Right. Your father's still around, isn't he?
No, he's gone.
Right. I'm feeling there was a time period where you weren't particularly close to your dad. Because I'm getting this stretched out distance. And like I said before, sometimes it could indicate a distance in miles and other times it's an emotional distance. And I do feel that with him, we're going back 5-6 years, something like that, maybe a bit longer.
What's that? The emotional
The distance with your father.
longer and 5 or 6 years ago, yeah.
A lot longer than that.
But there was something happened 5 or 6 years ago that did it that seemed to bring it to a head, or something happened. I'm not being told what, but something happened 5 or 6 years ago that was pivotal in your life.
Yeah.
You understand this? You also, I have to tell you, understand that no matter what happens to us here, where if we have arguments with somebody in life as we live it today, once they cross over, all of that's forgotten. All the pain's forgotten, everything. And all that they have for us is love. And if we can tap into some of that and love ourselves as much as they love us, we wouldn't have half as many issues with people around us.
I agree with that. 100%.
You understand? And sometimes when something happens and you have a fight and you walk away and you think, don't want to ever see him or speak to him again. Oh, one of my daughters didn't speak to me for 3 years, and she's done that twice. She's told me she's not going to do it anymore, but I don't believe her because I'm sure she will, you know. This is what happens. Although now she's got 9 kids and 3 grandchildren, I don't think she's got the time to walk away from me. She's got to be walking away from that lot. Now you know why I ran away from Australia.
Yeah. Still coming in, isn't it?
To go a long way to get peace and quiet, don't we?
So, what I'm saying is that when you feel that love and you display that love and make sure that it doesn't happen with those that you love,
100%.
because you learnt that lesson.
Yeah,
And I'm feeling this. So, right. I have to say, they're both very proud of you. Like I am feeling very tall, very, like they want to give you a trophy. I don't know if that means
I need
anything
one,
to
yeah.
you,
I
but
That's what you was talking about the other day.
was asking for a trophy from her.
No.
Well,
And you said about generational curses that you broke them.
I have, yeah, I broke them.
So every one of the family members has divorced, never held a marriage down, and he's the first one too.
Yeah. It's good, isn't it?
it is. Pat on the back and here's your trophy. That's what I'm talking about. They're very
It's not easy,
proud
though,
of you.
it's not easy.
No, nothing is
Being
easy.
held back.
You're not allowed to get a bike or nothing, are you?
That's what I'm waiting for.
I can't answer that one.
Okay.
Right. So I'm asking for what gift?
Yeah.
Because you've got the love, you know what you're about, and I've got balloons for you, and they're lots of colours,
God bless.
and it's for you, and it's about being cheerful and happy and passing it on.
Thank you. It's
So
amazing.
I will leave their love with you, Mark. Thank you for working with me.
You can stop whenever you want, or you can do another one if you want to squeeze another one in. It's up to you.
I'm going to do another one because I got this gentleman here who did not want to sit at the front.
Was it the front? No. Well.
Do you know, it's like being at a wedding, really. Do you belong to the bride or the groom?
I'll pick on him if he's at the front.
So what's your name?
Russell.
Russell, may I come to you, Russell? As yet, I don't know why, but you had a sign going, pick me, so it happens, right. So, okay, Russell. You've led rather an interesting life, and you have a few that have crossed over around you, my
Yes.
understanding. I've got, both sides here, mums and dads.
Yeah.
So how I feel it is when they come through, I either feel dad's on this side and mum's on this side, and then anything further back are on that side too. So that's how I personally feel it. We all work in different ways, and we all feel these things in different ways. So there's the name Mary has just been shouted out to me. So somebody around you with the name of Mary, and I'm reminded of a grandmother figure. And you're not related to this lady, are you, with the Ireland thing? Because there is a link with you to Ireland. You understand this?
Don't know.
Okay. I do feel that there is. I feel that this is something you could probably investigate if you wanted to, because I'm being shown, or it might just be that she was the grandmother and she felt like she had Irish links. But I do feel I've got this, and she is short. She's under 5 foot, right? Or 5 foot tall. And she's dressed like I would imagine a grandmother from Ireland to be dressed like, which is the pinny and not quite a hat, but 5 foot tall, looks a bit like a leprechaun, you know, got that same sort of shape. And do you understand what I'm talking about?
I always remember the penny.
Would you say your grandmother looked a bit like that? She had the personality type of somebody who would be a bit jovial and play, not tricks, but be a little bit outside the box.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Well, I'm not talking about yesterday, you know. I know that we sometimes have to go back in memory to look for these things, but she feels very much like she was a very happy, contented woman within her own right. She was a very strong woman. She didn't take idiots. And if you behaved in an idiotic way around her, she'd backhand you. Like she was quick to... but I do feel that also she was quick to love you as well. Like she was very quick to put her arms around you and give you comfort too, if you needed it.
Yeah.
You understand this? I don't know if she has links to Ireland, but this is how I see a grandmother who... I don't know why.
I don't know.
No, I don't know why, but that's how I'm feeling that she's got this sort of personality type. And while she may not have done practical jokes, she had a bit of a personality that she would do odd things. And something to do, she's cooking, she's doing something with the cooking, and I don't know what it is, what she's trying to show me. She's making me remember one of my husbands, and I've had a few. He always wanted his lunch made for him when he went off to work. And one day I got 2 slices of bread, slapped them together with a piece of paper that said, "More for you." And I sent him off for his lunch with that and a rotten tomato to boot.
That will learn him.
Yeah, no wonder that one didn't last long. But what I'm saying is, the day we got married, which incidentally would have been 52 years ago today or tomorrow, I ducked when the priest did the holy water. So that was always a portent of what our relationship was going to be, wasn't it? But I feel that she was a bit like that. She would do something like that. If you upset her or insist on something, she'd do something a little bit different to sort the odds out. Now, you may be able to find out, you may be able to ask other family members about this, whether she was like that or not. Because sometimes the best evidence is that we research after the event.
Mm.
Because I do feel that she was a bit like that, you know. Okay, so I'm asking now for something to relate to you, right? So that you know without a shadow of a doubt. And she's showing me a paintbrush. So have you been doing some painting recently? And I'm not, maybe walls. I am thinking maybe walls rather than, painting a picture. But I do feel that there's somewhere around you there's paintbrushes. Do you understand this?
I'm painting this week.
Right. Thank you for that. That's another wow factor, thank you. But that's what she's showing me, the paintbrush. So, and there's a lot of white, because she's been showing me a lot of white. You understand this too?
The whole room's white.
Well, there you go.
There's not a bit of colour in it.
Well, no wonder there's a lot of white. Do you feel like putting a bit of colour in the pot and just mixing it up a bit, or?
When we say I'm bored of painting white, so it's boring like.
Right. Well, okay. So that shows that she is with you. She knows
I
what
don't
you're...
do that much painting.
Right.
It's all white.
Well, yeah.
It's boring.
Again, it shows that she is with you. There is no shadow of a doubt about that, because she knows what you're doing. And this is how they come into our lives, and they spend their time around us. And they're just aware of what we're doing. And they want to give us love and encouragement and to be more loving and giving and compassionate with our fellow man. And that's what we're all about. You know, if we can show a bit of love and compassion to our fellow man, that's what our life is all about. And joy, living in joy, you know, that's what it's all about. So if you find something joyful to do, then do it, yeah? You don't need to look for more joy in your life, because you have joy in your life.
Yeah.
You have a sense of humour, and you do maintain that. There's also a bit of a dark side to you that you don't always share with everyone. I understand this.
Yeah.
It's all right, you're in safe hands. You're with people who love you. And I'm being made mindful that there are times when you want to be on your own, because there are times when you don't feel quite comfortable or accepted. And I want to say to you the same as I said to Willow, you have to ask for help.
Right, yeah.
Don't try and do everything on your own.
Mm.
Because it takes a village to raise a baby. It takes a city to keep adults alive too. You know? We are not alone in this, any of us. So ask for help when you need it.
Mm.
And that's usually when you don't think you do. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. So, Russell, I will leave your grand's love with you, and she has a plethora of baked cakes for you.
Yeah.
Cheese scones seems to be at the top of the list. I don't know if you have a particular liking to them or not, but they seem to be at the top of the
I
list.
can't remember cheese scones. Can't remember that.
Well, they're at the top of the list, so.
Yeah.
And with that, I will leave her love with you.
Thank
And
you.
I will thank you, everyone.
Thank you. If you could just close when you get a second, that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Right, shall we get together? All right. Dear Father God, thank you for this evening. Thank you for bringing us all together. And most humbly we ask that all the energies that are brought about here this evening, the joy, the laughter, the love, the compassion, the brotherhood of man that you bring together and that you send off to those who are in need of healing, be animal, vegetable or mineral, send it around the planet, especially to places like Ukraine and Russia and Turkey. Amen.
Thank you.